Diamond takes a trip to Dagobah. Here's your look at the Diamond Select Gentle Giant Star Wars Darth Vader Dagobah Collector's Gallery 1/8 scale statue. Dagobah was one of the purest planets in the galaxy, alive with the Force thanks to its abundant life. One cave in the planet's swamps roiled with the dark side. During the Clone Wars, the spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn led Yoda to this cave, where Yoda had a vision of Darth Sidious's triumph over the Jedi. Years later, Luke Skywalker faced his own test in the cave, fighting a saber duel with a spectral Darth Vader, whose helmet concealed Luke's own face. Designed, modeled, and prototyped using top-of-the-line 3D technology, this 1/8 scale statue represents the next level in their new collection of ongoing Star Wars saga statues. Each statue is hand-cast, hand-painted, and hand-numbered with a limited edition certificate of authenticity. Before we face our deepest, darkest fears, the first thing we're going to do is look at how tall Darth Vader stands from Dagobah. While I'm doing this, I'd like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at Diamond Select who made this review possible. Stopping the tape measure at the very top, not of his helmet, but instead the lightsaber blade. You're looking at Dagobah Darth Vader. That's a lot of D's. Well, at least 2 D's. You're looking at him standing 11.8 inches in height, and that in centimeters works out to be 30 centimeters exactly. To come included with the statue, when you do pick this one up for yourself, you do get yourself a trading card. It's not just a trading card. No. There's a lot more to that. On the front, you've got Star Wars Darth Vader in Dagobah Collector's Gallery 1/8 scale statue with Gentle Giant down below. If you flip it around, however, you're treated instantly to a certificate of authenticity. Hold on to these. I always stress this. Do, when you pick up these statues for yourself, hold on to these, because you never know if you want to use these later on, if you want to sell the statue, whatever else. Collectors will always be sourcing out the statues that come included with their certificate of authenticities. And then underneath that, you have a limited edition number, a very limited release, I might also add, of 2,000 copies worldwide. This one happens to be 245. I don't know why I had to overpronounce 245. And down below that, you've got Gentle Giant. Underneath that, you've got their website at gentlegiantlimited.com/star-wars. You may want to check that out if you want to see some of the other cooler collectibles that they're also producing as well. Earlier in this review, well, not too much earlier, when we did measure off how tall the statue was, I didn't take it to the top of Darth Vader's head. Instead, I took it to the top of the lightsaber blade. Well, the lightsaber actually is 2 pieces when you do get this out of the box. You do get a tube, if you will, finished off the top, of course, all done in a slightly translucent red plastic. On the underside, though, there's a hole, and that fits into the hilt. Let me just show you here, of Darth Vader's lightsaber. Now, when you are attaching this, I find the easiest thing is not to force it down. Forcing it, I feel, runs the risk of potentially breaking or bending that. So I find instead, if you push it down as you're wiggling it or twisting it, no, you don't have to twist, but twist the lightsaber blade till finally it fills in and finishes off, attaches to the hilt there. And then you've got the finished piece. That's all the assembly that's required. There's nothing else, I promise. That's the only thing you have to actually do. Now, this is Darth Vader depicted from Dagobah. So it's not really the real Darth Vader, simply just an image that Luke Skywalker saw. I always wondered this as a kid, wondering where this Darth Vader came from. Is this another Darth Vader? And why did he have the head of Luke inside his helmet? Now, of course, later on, they would explain it by incorporating things pulled from the Clone Wars, which is not something I personally watched as a series. So again, I only can pull this as something that Luke Skywalker simply just envisioned. But I guess there is connections to that cave being more dark side than anything else. Now, as for the base itself, well, as you can see there, this is the flooring, the bottom swamped area that he first encounters Darth Vader in. There seems to be other critters that are occupying this space other than just a spectral vision, if you will, of Darth Vader. As you can see, there's a couple little critters that are moving around on the ground as well. One flying creature I'm believing is no longer living. As you can see, his body is just sort of draped along the rocks there. And then there's also a rather large, very intimidating looking snake. The detailing done to both pieces is quite exceptional. As you can see, not only is the scaling done nicely, but they've airbrushed to really enhance the sculpting of the snake. You can see the piercing eyes there as well, with the little extensions out of the additional red. And then, of course, then we have a look at the little flying creature. Poor little thing. But as you can see, his eye is open. I'm sure he's long since passed. And you can see his one wing is sort of kind of blanketed across the terrain, while the other one is sort of just draping. It's not even so much draping. As you can see, it's hovering and levitating on its own. You want to be careful, though. This is a piece that could potentially break. And then, of course, if we just spin this around, being very careful of Darth Vader's cape, something I'll talk about in a second, you can see there's a couple of branches, a couple of rocks. There's nice moss that's been painted on there as well. And they've airbrushed it, not as much. There's not as much paint happening here. It's really a lot of the similar style of colors. A lot of really muddy browns and muddy grays. Really like the moss areas seems some of the areas that are unfortunately missed on paint. They kind of just kept it to the same color scheme as the rocks. If they had just enhanced that a little bit, made it a little bit starker of a green color, I think it would have stood out a little bit more. It's a considerably heavy base as well, and tipping it upside down, you're treated to Gentle Giant Limited Star Wars Darth Vader Dagobah Collector's Gallery 1/8 scale statue, with the very same number that we looked at before on the Certificate of Authenticity. Going back to Darth Vader's cape, though, this is something I want to mention when it comes to picking the statue up for yourself. Literally, when you pick the statue up for yourself, you may want to resist the urge of grabbing it from the side, on the sides of his cape. The reasoning why I say this is it's actually a separate piece. So basically, like, Darth Vader already comes across like he's hollow. Like, it feels like it's not a solid metal. Certainly not here, at least. The little part of his cloak, for example, it comes down. Both it, as well as the outer cape, are separate pieces. So if you say to grab the statue this way and pick it up, well, you could run the risk of actually crunching this and cracking this. So you want to be very, very careful of that. A very nice looking depiction of Darth Vader when it's all said and done. His cape is slightly more lighter. As you can see, they've airbrushed what it almost comes across as a very, very dark bluish gray. Up here, as you get a little bit closer to his helmet, is where you get more of the darker colors. But like down here, though, it really is an interesting contrast of what they've used. It's also more of a matte finish, as appears also in the show. In the movie itself, Darth Vader's cloak is a more matte color, and it's only his interior outfit that's more the darker, in this case, more of a semi-gloss black that they've painted in as well. It really has a nice element of contrasting colors. Not contrasting in the sense that they compete with one another, but certainly like the black. So you can only get so much black on a statue. And at least in the case with Darth Vader here, it's nice that they used matte black, for example, on his cape, matte black for the area on the front of his Jedi cloak. And then, of course, as it comes to his outfit, the interior there, that's more of a semi-gloss with more than the gloss happening in Darth Vader's head here. Speaking of Darth Vader's head, let's have a look at that right now. Really, of course, an imposing looking helmet. I can't think of anything more iconic in films than Darth Vader's helmet. It's still classic to this day. While it doesn't have a whole lot of color going for it, most if not all of it is simply just this shiny, shiny black that really is doing wonders for having the bouncing of the light just bouncing off of that. That's really, really nice. As you can see there, on the front is painted in silver, slightly more whiter silver done on the front area of his breathing apparatus. But other than that, I mean, it's basically all this shiny black. And it works really, really well, especially, again, when you look at it against the backdrop of his outfit, which is otherwise rather, again, matte in color. His gloves, of course, are wielding and holding the hilt in place with both hands. And as you can see, there's the beam that we already had a look at before. In a way, it would have been fun if they could have lit this up, but that would have certainly increased the price of the statue. Being, again, that all of this is molded from one thing, you really wouldn't want to start hollowing this out and incorporating circuitry so that simply this could light up. I guess if you had like a light source beating down on it, shining down on it, you might be able to pull off the effect of making that actually look like it's glowing. Darth Vader, like in the film, does have the little console there, the little control pad on the front of his chest, as well as things on the sides as well. And even though they aren't painted, they're certainly, even though they're not lit up, I should say, they're painted well enough that you can still look, and it still looks like those buttons could be lighting up, those could be pulsating. Even like the front keypad there, the reds, the blues, and little switches down below in the lighter blue, again, all look accurate to the way it looks in the film itself. Quite the decent looking Darth Vader presented here from the folks over at Gentle Giant Limited. I don't really want to say it's Darth Vader. It is and it isn't. Of course, the Darth Vader that Luke encounters in the dark dwellings of the Dagobah cave wasn't a Darth Vader at all. It was just a spirit, an entity, a vision of things that perhaps will be told later on in the film. Just FYI, they're related. But as a kid, I had no idea what I was watching. How is it that Darth Vader was able to track Luke down to the planet Dagobah? How was Luke able to best Darth Vader and even cut his head off? It wasn't until, of course, the helmet exploded to reveal Luke's face inside. I really just dismissed it as a nightmare more than anything else. But as fashion normally goes with Star Wars, we have to overly explain everything. So apparently in an episode that I never even watched of Clone Wars, Qui-Gon took Yoda down the same trickery path to the cave of Dagobah, where, of course, Yoda encounters his own vision of Darth Sidious. Again, I feel sometimes Star Wars feels the need to over-explain things. Leaving it sort of more to a mystery is better if you ask me, but that's what we do with Star Wars. We have to over-explain everything. Certainly, as presented here as a statue, the Darth Vader here from Dagobah is very nicely presented. Of course, he's standing on the terrain from Dagobah. There's just enough of it that you know it's of an alien planet. The snake is not so much the giveaway, but the little flying dead creature on the front of the rock. Sort of that thing of, oh right, they're on another planet. Darth Vader's nicely looking here, although he's all black, yes, but at least they changed the black up a bit. So, like in the film, not all the black costume is the exact same. His cape is slightly lighter, with nice airbrushing, I might also say, done to the cape itself. His main control pad is a little bit more of a shinier black, and of course, you can't beat the reflection that's coming off, cascading off the helmet of Darth Vader. The lightsaber is a nice touch, though it doesn't light up. I wouldn't really expect it to light up either. Like, Gentle Giant produces statues, really decent looking statues. If you're looking for a light up Darth Vader, you can really look elsewhere. What you're getting here is a decent looking Darth Vader that looks really great on a shelf. You have to be careful though, and I do want to say this again here in Final Looks. Be careful when you are picking up the statue for yourself. Don't grab it from the sides of the cape. Because the cape and part of his cloak is separate from the rest of his body, I do feel I risk the fact that if you are picking that up from the side, you could crush it by mistake and crack the cape. So if you're going to be picking the statue up for yourself, and I most definitely recommend that you do, pick it up from the base, the bottom, and maybe grab it from the head while you're carrying it over. Don't grab it from the cape, whatever you do. But a decent looking Darth Vader. Looking forward to putting this one on display. If you're in the market picking this one up for yourself, I can provide the link down below to a couple of online sites that you can check around. I think he's currently on pre-order right now. But again, if you want to be in the market of picking this one up for yourself, just sort of look around. And I would always say too, support your local comic book store if anything else, because they're the smaller businesses as well. You really want to keep them going. And of course, with the things that are going on in the world right now with the pandemic, it's always best to support your local comic book stores if you can. So if they don't have this one in stock, see if they can actually order it in. Probably will come in a couple of weeks. But a big thank you to the folks over at Diamond Select who provided the sample that we had to look at in this review. Tell me in the comments section down below what you guys think of the Gentle Giant Limited Star Wars Darth Vader Dagobah. It's not the real Darth Vader. Sort of a weird sort of spirit nightmare Darth Vader. Overly explained, I feel, in the Clone Wars. We always overly explain everything in Star Wars. If you're new to the channel and liking perhaps the content that you're seeing, consider the idea of hitting that subscribe button down below. Consider the idea also of moving on over to the dark cave, that is the bell notification. Turn that on, and just FYI, just be aware that Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when you'll find new videos popping up on this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.